All right, hello everybody. Today we're going to be discussing insurance as an asset class. Now, this is a term that gets thrown around a lot in our industry. What we're really here for today is to learn how to frame this discussion in a way that makes it easier to relate to for clients, specifically clients in the high net worth space. The way this concept is often shown today is with a spreadsheet that shows, okay, here's your investments, and this is how they're going to grow, and this is how they'll be taxed. And over here's another spreadsheet, what we like to call an insurance illustration. The idea is that at the end of all these numbers, you're left with more if you use insurance as opposed to other investments. The issue with this way of doing things is, well, it generally makes clients feel like they're trying to read the matrix code and their eyes roll up into the back of their head. I mean, it's just a lot. It can be confusing and overwhelming. So, is there a better way? Well, at G3, we decided to moneyball the problem. What I mean by that is getting everything down to one number, one simple number that makes it easy to relate to. So, what's a singular number that all clients understand and is powerful enough to create emotion and action? Well, we're in Canada, so there's an easy one. It's tax. So, if we're going to use tax as our one number, we kind of need to know, what does that climate look like today for those in the high net worth space? Well, you can see it here, right? Today, everyone is looking to try and find what I like to call Fantasy Island. It's that wonderful place where if you made $100, you got to keep 100 of it. Unfortunately, it doesn't exist. The reality that we live in is a little more bleak, where if you're in the top tax bracket, you're losing somewhere between about 50% and now about 35% of every dollar that your money makes for you. This is not really a great option. And so if we're going to position insurance as an alternative, well, what's that going to look like? Well, let's take this as an example. We're going to use a typical client, about a 50-year-old male non-smoker, and we're just going to be putting the same amount of money that we'd be putting into another investment, into insurance, and we'll see how it turns out. So here we've got four best in breed whole life approaches. Doesn't really matter what company they were with or anything else. Today we're just learning about this from a conceptual standpoint. And so again, instead of getting lost in all the numbers and death benefit and everything else, internal rate of return. It's a great way to boil it down and say, okay, for every dollar that you're giving an insurance company, what are they giving you back? And if we look out to around mortality, this is what we're looking at, right? We're looking at somewhere between 4.5 and 5.5% on the face of it. That isn't great. I mean, it's not bad at all, but really this is net net. And this is where this really comes into play, is this is net of fees, net of taxes, net of everything. So what we really need to do is get that back into coordination to make sense in terms of tax. And so how do we do that, right? The beauty of insurance is that it grows and pays out tax free. Okay, but what is a tax but a drain on your money? I mean, clients don't care whether or not they lose, money to taxes, fees, insurance costs, whatever it's going to be. They care how much money's left in their pocket at the end of all this. So if we look at, another way to calculate this, we're just trying to figure out how much money is being lost using insurance as opposed to in other investments where it's being lost to tax. So if we take a look at this and use, say, whole life B, well, what that was supposed to make, or what insurance companies call their dividend scale, was about 6.25, right? Pretty good. But what we actually made was about 5.33. We don't have to get too lost in the math, but if we do some of that math, we look at, about 15% of what we were supposed to make was lost to insurance costs, and that's what left us with our 5.33%. So what does that mean? Well, again, we don't know if that's good or not until we relate it back to the alternatives. So if we go back to a new version of one of our earlier slides, this is what we're left with. So if your clients are out there and they're in that top tax bracket and they've got retained earnings or non-registered money, just ask them, would you rather keep 50, 60, 65, or 85% of the money that you make? Don't get me started on the other stuff, which is the fact that there's a hedge and that this is you can get some of this money back if you need to, but that's the basic gist of things.